My name is Jodie McCallum. I am a freelance entertainment TV presenter, and you are joining me on this wonderful chat with the award-winning director, David G. Croft. And oh my God, what a career he has had. I cannot wait to delve into it. But this chat is all about the National Television Schools, Film and TV Schools, directing and producing TV entertainment course, which, honest to God, I was looking at last night, looks absolutely incredible. So we're going to chat all about the course, and David's going to share all his amazing stories from his wonderful career. Now, if you don't know who David is, he is an award-winning director who directed Live Aid. I mean, that is just like the coolest thing. That blows my mind, absolutely blows my mind. And behind him on his wall, you'll see there is a record, and that's actually from Sir Paul McCartney. He also directed one of his documentaries. I mean, like, there's rock and roll legends here. And he also successfully produced and directed 6 series of Channel 4's Crystal Maze. But I'm not going to go on about it anymore because I'm going to let David tell us more about his wonderful career. So, David, tell me all about your career from where you kind of started to where you are now.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I'm delighted that you're here, and I hope it's going to be of some use today. Well, I think, Jodie, I was interested in film and television as a kid. I went to university in Liverpool, which is where I'm from, and I did a degree in sociology. But whilst I was there, I got the idea I wanted to become a director. And I didn't know anything about directing, so I read lots of books, and I'd watched lots of films, and I still didn't figure out how they'd done it, but I read lots of books, and I discovered that I thought, well, if I want to be a director, I ought to really go somewhere and learn, because this is in the time when for television there was only BBC One, BBC Two, ITV. That was it. That was all the television there was. There was no freelance independent sector. So I applied to the Royal College of Art, who did an MA in film and television production, and I got in. And I did 3 years there, made a film which was not very good. Did the classic student thing, Jodie. It's 10 minutes too long. Because, of course, young directors love everything that they've shot. And one of the things you have to learn in this business is to become ruthless about your own material. But I was lucky in that I got a job in a cutting room. I was an assistant film editor, because lots of things then were shot on 16mm film. And I spent 2 years in a cutting room, and that was one of the finest places to learn how to become a director, because you watched the rushes of lots of other directors and assisted the editor while he edited lots of programs, and it was an invaluable experience for me. Editing is great. You want to learn how to become a director, shoot stuff and then edit it, and then you realize if you've shot properly or you've missed shots out, you've forgotten cutaways. Directing is all about being able to see sequences in advance, you know, long shots, 2 shots, singles. That's what directing's all about, and how you tell a story in a sequence of shots. I then applied. I didn't want to be an editor. I wanted to be a director, remember? And the BBC used to run a training scheme called the Trainee Assistant Producer Scheme, the TAPS. They called it the TAP scheme, Trainee Assistant Producers. You went in on a 2-year contract, and you worked in different departments for 3 months. And this is where I had my first break. And folks, you do need breaks in this industry. My first break was being sent to a department that made a very famous music show, rock show called Whistle Test. And I was put onto a brand new music arts program for young people. It was aimed, the demographic was kind of like 18 to 30, and we were so cool. It was a program that was about people who were into art, dance, poetry. you know, bands who hadn't even been signed. It was that kind of vibe. And the producer immediately sent me out to start making short films. So of course I could do that because of my training. And the series was 13 episodes. And after 6 episodes, the director was from Bristol and he had to go home. So I came into the office one day and the producer said to me, David, how would you feel about directing the rest of the series?
Wow.
And I said, can I think about it, John? And he said, yes, you've got half an hour. So I went and sat in the corner of the office and I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, this is a break. You can do this. So I went back and said, I'll do it. So the outgoing director said, I'll teach you how to direct music and multi-camera direct in a studio in a week. And he did. And I directed that series, the rest of that series, came back and did the next series, got a permanent job, and then started directing lots of music. And so, yeah, that's how it happened. And then in 1985, Live Aid happened and they needed 3 directors to direct the live music in the stadium. So I was one of them because I'd also learnt to direct live. You know, I started doing live concerts and I realized that, because not all directors like doing live, Jodie. Some directors find it a bit too scary. I actually loved it. And then I also branched out and started doing things, shooting single camera music documentaries. So I made a documentary with Paul McCartney, with Mick Jagger, with Brian Ferry. But these were all single camera shot on film things. So I could do both, you know, I work in the studio. And then I directed, what else did I do? The BBC, I did Jodie, you know Terry Wogan, of course, legendary chat show.
Oh my God, do I know him? I love him.
So I worked on the Wogan show for 8 months and that was great. So that was live chat show with music. But in 1988, I decided I wanted to branch out, and there was the freelance world was flourishing. You know, when I joined the BBC in 82, you know, you could stay at the BBC till you were 65 and get a gold watch. But by the time you get to 1988, there is a whole, Channel 4 have arrived, there's a whole flourishing independent sector. Independents are making programs for the BBC, they're making programs for Channel 4. So I thought maybe this was a good time. I wanted to branch out. So I did. And made all kinds of stuff. Yes, I got involved with Crystal Maze right at the very beginning and helped to develop that show, and directed the first 2 series, was produced the second 2 series, and then produced and directed the last 2 series. Moved into comedy. I worked with Reeves and Mortimer, did Shooting Stars, worked with Jonathan Ross a lot.
Wow. I'm so jealous.
I did 2 sitcoms. I did a sitcom in Northern Ireland called Give My Headpiece. I did a sitcom with David Baddiel for Sky. So did lots of stuff. I thought that's how I was going to be employable, that I could work in lots of different genres, did some dramas. So I did a lot of things, but I was freelance for 18 years. And again, I thought I want to do something slightly different, and the opportunity came up. The NFTS had just started the television department, the television entertainment department. It was going to specialize in entertainment. And I was offered a job and, you know, to run this MA course. I'm not a teacher, but they said it doesn't matter because what you're going to be doing is using your experience to design this course and teach students about producing and directing television entertainment. And so that's what I've been doing. since 2007. So they've been developing the course, building bridges and links to the industry, because that was quite hard work in the beginning, because the industry was like, you know, for a very long time, the television industry trained its own. Okay. You know, as I said, I was trained at the BBC. The idea that an educational institution could train you to go into television was like, no, what? What do you know about it? But that's what, so gradually, the industry began to accept that students from the course were top quality students. But also at the same time, Jodie, the television industry has moved back from training. The BBC used to have a huge training regime. They don't anymore. You know? So it's now very difficult. It's the industry doesn't train in the way it used to do, and that's opened up. That's increased, I think, the responsibility and the opportunity for the NFTS to fill that gap and help train students who want to go into that kind of area. Okay,
definitely. I can absolutely testify to that as well, as somebody that's working in the industry. I've kind of just learned as I've went along, and I'm so jealous of these courses because I wish I'd kind of known about them when I was starting out, because they're so amazing. Like, so tell me about the course then. What can people learn from the course? What do they do? What's the kind of basis of it?
Okay. We teach, I suppose we teach what I would call some hard skills and softer skills. So here are the hard skills. We teach you how to direct single camera. We teach you how to multi-camera direct in the studio. And I'm talking everything from an interview to directing a rock and roll band. We give you the opportunity to produce single camera and produce studio shows. Because the thing about, one of the difficult things about producing, if you guys all go into the library or go online, there's millions of books about how to direct. Try and find a book on how to produce. There aren't any. There might be books by producers telling you stories about things that they did. So we give the opportunity of students to learn how to produce by making stuff, Jodie. So we're big on making stuff. That's how I can teach students to make television entertainment, by them making it. Then we teach, I think, a lot of soft skills like idea creation into format development. So all of the work the students do, they originate the ideas, but an idea isn't enough. You know, Jodie, I come to you and I say, I've had a great idea. A lot of young people do some stuff, and the best one of them gets a job with an industry mogul. Now that's The Apprentice. Now, all I've given you is a very sketchy idea. What's the show? The show is all the other stuff, the format, how does it work? So we're trying to teach students to take a top line idea and then build what I call the engine, the format, the way in which the show works. And if you guys have all seen The Apprentice, you know how it works. The teams, he gives them a project, he divides them up. They've got to go off and do a task, then they come back, and then they've got to see who did the most money. And then he talks to the teams, and then eventually somebody's fired. That's big format points, you know, that all has to be worked out. So we teach students to take ideas, create formats. We also teach students how to pitch. Okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, pitching's important because that's a way of selling ideas. But the other thing about pitching is why it's such an important part of the course, Jodie, is that when you pitch, you have to recognize the most important parts of your format. So if I say to you, Jodie, pitch me The Apprentice, you've got to go, right, what's the important bits? What bits tell the story? Do I need that bit? No, I don't need to tell them that bit. Do I need to do this bit? Do I need, all right, what bits do I need? And pitching that's what it's about. It's getting to the core of the idea.
Yeah.
Exciting the person who's listening. So we do that, and we teach and I think what we do across the course, Jodie, what we do across the course is to engender a professional attitude to work, right? When I'm running the course, these aren't students, these are professional people. I'm not interested in teaching people who are not committed. You know, my 10 students, and it's only 10 students in each year.
Wow.
So their relationship to me is very close, and the other staff and the equipment. But each of these students have made a big commitment. You know, it's not cheap to come here. So I expect them to behave in a professional manner, and they learn that. You know, it's so important in the world, in the industry out there, that you have a professional attitude to what you do. Correct?
God, I cannot like back up everything that you're saying. I'm literally nodding furiously to everything that you're saying. It's amazing. Now listen, there's questions coming in here thick and fast. So let me just go through some of them. So the first one here, how similar would you say the roles of a TV director and a film director are? It seems like TV directors focus more on editing than the actors.
Ooh, well, that's a difficult question. Okay, let me. First of all, any director, it doesn't matter whether they're a film director or a television director, they are charged with telling the story in pictures. All right, and we use a language. We use a visual language of pictures to tell that story. And our job is to get the performances from whether they're actors or presenters like yourself, Jodie, in any manner of things, or actors in a sitcom, or contestants on a game show, or Alan Sugar on The Apprentice. The directors have to get the performances. You know, in many ways, they are extremely similar. In other ways, there is a difference. Directors of feature films there is no doubt about it, will have more creative control over the film.
Right.
In television, it's different. In television, the director knows that ultimately, the producer has the final editorial say-so.
Right,
so,
okay.
As a director, if I cut the sequence and the producer comes in and says, David, love it, but it's too long, take 2 minutes out of it, I've got to do that.
Yeah, I know. I find that quite annoying actually, because I edit a lot of my own content as well, and then when I'm told to cut things down, I'm like, no, I don't want to. I know,
and it doesn't matter how good we are and stuff. That's what we have to do. So, and that's the big dip. I'm often asked, what do producers do in television? Well, that's it. They have the editorial control over the final program. The producer has to answer to the channel. You know, if I'm commissioned, if we're commissioned to make a program for the BBC and the BBC don't like it, it's likely to be the producer they'll be most unhappy with. So I hope that kind of answers a complicated question.
Aye. Absolutely, that makes total sense. Listen, honestly, these questions, this Q&A box is going crazy right now. Right, okay. So the next one is, and this is from Carla. She has asked, I am finishing a 3-year degree in television production. We cover producing and directing, but does your course go into a work programme after?
I wonder, Carla, can Carla explain what she means by a work programme? I mean, what normally happens is when our guys leave, you know, they're going out into the wide world, having made lots and lots of contacts during the 2 years, because everybody that teaches on this MA course, you know, is a if it's not me, then I'll bring in I bring in industry professionals. So the students make lots and lots of contacts. They do a month's work experience with a production company or the BBC. But the truth be told, Carla, you know, I can't guarantee my students a job when they leave.
Yeah.
You know, I can take you to the edge of the diving board.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you've got to do the jumping in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And just while we're on this point, this seems to be quite a popular point, actually. Okay. So we've got Kimberly, Glasgow. I don't know if that's just her second name or whether she's from Glasgow. Hello, Kimberly. What is the career path like after finishing the course? Do you start out in entry-level roles such as a runner, or would you be qualified to apply for higher responsibility roles?
Good question. Kimberly, I always tell my students that they should not be applying for runner jobs. With the skill set that my students come out with, they're way above that. So they're usually going in as junior researchers or junior assistant producers. Right. That's what I would expect. I mean, I'm not being, I don't wish to sound to disrespect runners. They're incredibly, and, you know, it's another valid way into the industry. It's true, you know, and I have some friends who started as runners. But I would expect, with all of the skill set that my TV entertainment students have after 2 years, that they should be being accepted at a higher level.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Right, we've got Charlotte Weston. She's asked, do you think the course is right for someone graduating with a BA with minimal industry experience, or would you expect applicants to already have worked for a few years first?
No, Charlotte, it's an MA course. So this is how we judge applications. Because it's an MA course, applicants either have to have a university degree or have some very, very, very good industry experience. But undergraduates who apply who haven't had industry experience, I don't mind. Okay. What I'm looking for is passion, commitment, and ideas. I only want to interview students who are passionate about getting into this area of entertainment, this area of television. And if I believe they're passionate, I'll happily interview them. So apply, Charlotte.
Definitely, and I'm glad we're on this subject because there's quite a lot of questions surrounding this. So someone said here, I am 26 years old. I already have a producing degree and some experience as a runner. Am I too old to apply for the course?
Certainly not.
Thank you. I'm so glad you said that because I wanted to shut that down. I mean, I'm nearly 30 and I feel like I'm kind of past my peak, and it's just ridiculous when you think about it. So what are you looking for in applicants? So kind of touching on what you were just saying there.
Well, what I'm looking for is are applicants who can, as I say, are passionate, can demonstrate that they have a real interest in television entertainment, that they watch television entertainment broadly, you know, from chat shows, music shows, factual entertainment shows, game shows, shiny floor shows, adventure shows. We all right?
Oh no, David, have you frozen?
You frozen. Is it me? Are we back?
Yes, we're back. What happened there? Did you freeze? Did I freeze? Did we all freeze?
I think if either one of us freezes, the other one freezes, if you know what I mean. So you froze, but obviously to you, I froze. Anyway, so I just need to see that the applicant really wants to work in this area, because that's not always the case. We often get applicants who just want to work in TV. Well, that's a bit too fuzzy, really. You know, you don't just want to work in TV. One of the advices, my big pieces of advice is, if you want to come onto this course, it's because you want to work in television entertainment.
Yeah.
And find out what that is again. And it is quite often students will say, oh, well, drama's television entertainment. And I'll say, no, it's not.
Yeah.
We want drama to be entertaining. We want everything on TV to be entertaining, but we need to understand what the industry understands as the parameters of entertainment. So I will always say, not drama, not documentary, not animation, not sport.
Yeah.
TV is pretty broad, as I say, from, you know, chat shows, game shows, factual entertainment shows. It's pretty broad, Jodie.
Yeah, all the stuff that I absolutely love. We need more entertainment.
So I'm looking for commitment from the applicant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a question here from Ella, which is a brilliant question, something I was going to ask next. Hi there, what sort of jobs have the NFTS students gone on to do after the course? Because I know some of them have gone on to do amazing things, haven't they?
They have. That's a very good. And because I knew this question was coming, I thought I'd write some things down, Ella.
You're prepared.
Well, I can never remember. And also I have to chase my ex-students to find out what they're doing, because they're terrible at keeping in touch. But here we go. Here are some credits. Ian IA last year directed the third series of the Idris Elba sitcom In the Long Run.
Wow.
Abigail Dankwer regularly directs 24 Hours in A&E, and she did some Big Brother. Lucy Smith has just become head of formats and features at a company called Wise Owl Films in Leeds. James Allison's the assistant producer on The Wall and Richard Osman's House of Games. Lorna Hartnett, edit producer on the BBC series Health Check UK, Your Money or Your Life, Rip Off Britain. Becky Casey was series producer of Life and Birth at the BBC. Meera Patel was the assistant producer on the last series of Have I Got News for You?
Wow.
So those are the kind of jobs that people are getting. We've had people working on Love Island. So it's for, you know, we're doing okay.
Yeah, and I think it was something like a 90% of the students go on to actually work in the industry and have professional jobs. Is that right?
That is true, because, you know, and I'm very pleased about that. You know, when I first took the job, I remember saying to my wife Louise, I said, I'm not going to do this if I'm just teaching in a bubble. You know, if people are just going to go out and not get anywhere, you know, I want to connect the course to the industry. So I am delighted to be able to say, yes, we're kind of batting around about 90%, you know, and it's a difficult industry. It's massively competitive. And in some ways, Jodie, too many people want to work in TV because they think it's so glamorous. Well, they look at you and they go, she's glamorous.
Tell me about it. People think entertainment is always really glamorous as well, until they see all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. It looks glamorous when you see it on a Saturday night, but you don't see all the work that goes behind it. Right, listen, this Q&A box is absolutely going crazy. So the next question I've got for you here is, I've seen you have to submit a short film to enter in, but what are you particularly looking for in these short films?
Okay, now let me be clear about this. Students, applicants sending in short films, it's not compulsory, and I understand that applicants don't have access to multi-camera studios and massive budgets. I'm very happy to see any piece of work, whether it's a short film, a short documentary, whether it's a video you've shot with a band, but many students apply and don't submit anything like that. But what every student does have to submit is a format for an original entertainment show. So that's very important. So don't worry if you haven't got anything. If you have, don't worry. and think, oh gosh, this isn't TV entertainment. It doesn't matter, because I think that I and the panel are quite capable of telling if people have got talent by looking at stuff. You know, you don't need long to look at stuff to see if somebody's got some talent. So don't worry about that.
Absolutely, and you can film so many great things on phones and stuff like that. You just use what you've got in the moment. I
will often say to my students, you know, they'll often say, oh, can we do another exercise? I say, well, look, get a hold of this and film me mum making a cup of tea, because think how many creative decisions you have to make about filming your mum make a cup of tea. You know, do you shoot it all in one shot? Do you break it down? How many cutaways? Da, da, da. Do you put music on it? Do you not put music on it? That. So, you know, you could shoot your mum having a cup of tea and send it in. If it's framed up nicely and well directed, I'll spot that.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Right, listen, a question here, which is probably quite an important question, quite a simple question, but probably, like I say, very important. How do you apply for it? What do you have to do?
Well, what you need to do is go on to the NFTS website, and you need to go to the course page, the MA in Directing and Producing Television Entertainment. Go to the course page, and there you will find a link that will take you to an online application form. Right. And if you have any problems with that, you can, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. You can email me.
Wow, that's gold, giving out email addresses. That's wonderful.
Well, I'm happy to field any. There we go. That's my email address.
Oh, wonderful.
If you get stuck on the website, give me a shout.
Perfect. Guys, note that down. Take note of that. Also, as well, someone's asking, I think this is a good question as well, is it necessary to do one of these courses, to do this course? Is it necessary in terms of actually getting into the industry? And obviously, it probably isn't, but at the same time, I can imagine this will give you such a huge head start.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. I'll be absolutely honest. No, you could decide, I'm going to save that money, I'm going to start as a runner, and I'm going to work my way up. Okay, that's a perfectly legitimate way to do it. Possibly, though, it's a bigger gamble, because you may be going in as a runner and nobody's taught you to direct. Nobody's taught you to direct multi-camera. Maybe you've not had an opportunity to produce anything. Maybe you don't have a show reel. Maybe you don't know how to operate a Sony S7 camera. Maybe you've not had much editing experience. Maybe you don't know how to create format ideas. Maybe you don't know how to pitch. You're going to be relying on the kindness of people in production companies to give you a leg up. Now, if you're very, very talented, bright, and switched on, then things can happen. But I think it's a bigger gamble. But I would never say to people, no, you must come here. That would not be true. Some of my best friends started as runners.
Wow. Okay. I actually started out as a runner in the industry as well. But a lot of questions are coming in here about scholarships. I don't know how well you can answer those questions about scholarships. People are asking, how competitive is it to get a scholarship?
Wow, that's a difficult question. What I can say is that, folks, is that the school gives away hundreds of thousands of pounds in scholarships every year. It cannot guarantee a scholarship to everybody, but what it does is it runs a system whereby we have quite a lot of international students and students from Europe. Well, the school looks at UK applications first, and you kind of apply and you explain why you might need the scholarship. And then it's down to the scholarship committee. So I would love to be able to tell you, oh, there's a 90% chance you'll get a scholarship, or an 85% chance. I wouldn't like to do that because I don't know the answer, but I can tell you that the school does give out lots of scholarships.
Yeah.
So try not, I know it's expensive, but you know, there are also other ways and other areas that you can look into to try and raise money, as well as scholarships.
Yeah.
And if you can, try not to let it put you off. I would say to you that this is about investing in your future, but you've got to be absolutely 100% committed to doing this. You don't come on an MA course at the NFT. It's not like university, like I did, where I went and I was still thinking, I wonder what I'll do when I leave. When you come on an MA course at the NFTS, it's because you've made a life commitment, a career commitment.
Yeah. Absolutely. That I can't tell you, honestly. Thank you so much for all your questions, guys. This Q&A is just popping off. It's going crazy. I'm trying to go through them all. They're just coming in thick and fast. Okay, so another good question here. If you don't have an MA, do you still have opportunities in the industry? How much do courses like this help you?
Okay, the industry, that's a very good question. Right, the industry in many ways doesn't look at what people's educational ability is. Okay, the industry is kind of quite generous like that. It's not like other professions where you must have this qualification or you must have that, because it's a creative industry.
Yeah.
So you can make your way in the industry without an MA. Of course you can, absolutely. But you know, all I can say is that what courses can offer you is just is more skill sets to make yourself more attractive in the marketplace. That's what it's about. Yeah. That's what it's about. But no, you can, you know, I think one of the important things, listen, couple of skills in the industry that are really important. One, that you can be articulate, that you can speak about what you want to do. You can express your thoughts well, all right? Because certainly, as Jodie would not argue with me when I say in television, we talk a lot to people. You can't be shy about that, okay? People are going to ask you what you think. So you've got to be able to go, yeah, okay, I'm happy to speak in a room full of people. You've got to be able to kind of write to a reasonable degree, because again, in television, you write lots of stuff. You write proposals, you write ideas, you write scripts, okay? So, you know, that kind of skill is important too. So, you know, they're quite big. And I would also say to you that, you know, there's bound to be, you know, there's 370 people participating at the moment. This course won't be right for everybody. But again, my other piece of advice for you is, if you're going into the industry, try to figure out what it is you want to do. Okay. Yeah, don't be that girl that comes up to me and says, I want to go into production. And I say, what do you mean? You know, what do you mean production? Do you mean directing, producing, camera operating, editing, sound recording, researching, assistant producing? What do you mean? So also research about the television industry and what the different roles are. You know, I knew I wanted to be a director. That helped me work out the path that I was going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's something that people that are listening and are on this call, that's something you can go away right now and do, is actually go and figure out exactly where it is that you want to work in, which kind of area, what kind of department, all that. Because like you say, there's just so many jobs in television. Right. Okay, more questions. This is a good one. I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but I want to get into this a little bit deeper. Except professionalism, what are the main qualities you're looking for when you choose the students?
What are the main qualities? Right, I'm looking for bright, sparky people with personality who convince me that this course is the right course for them, and that television entertainment is truly a passion that they have. And if they can do that, Everything else goes by the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I want.
Right, okay, and I feel like there's quite a lot of questions in here, but we're running out of time. So one of the big questions that's coming in is, what would be your kind of main general advice for anybody who is starting out in television?
Starting out in television, I would go back to my answer, and I don't mind if you want to stay on slightly over the time, but starting out in television, figure out what you want to do. All right, what role do I want to play? Find out about that. What kind of programs do I want to make? Find out who makes them, watch them, write to those companies. Okay, go and meet people. Get yourself out there, have ideas. One of the best ways to advance yourself in television, particularly television entertainment, is if you go and see a producer about maybe getting a job in the company or on the program, is always go armed with ideas. Okay.
Yes.
Say, I've got a really good idea for the show, or I've had this idea for other shows. What you need to do is you need to, when you walk through the door and you meet people, they've got to think, this is somebody who's got something to offer. They've got ideas. They're switched on. They're watching television. They know what's popular. They know what's trending and what's not trending. More and more and more now, you guys are the key audience, right? Lots of middle-aged producers all over television and lots of middle-aged commissioning editors are desperately trying to find out what you guys want to watch. Go and tell them. Go in there and say, here's my ideas. So be an ideas person. Always be ready with an idea, but be sure about what you want to do, where you want to work. Find out about it. Don't just say, I want to be a director. What kind of director you want to be?
Yeah. Absolutely. Be specific. Get clear on your goals and where you want to go.
That's it. That's the word. Clear on your goals, and then make contacts with people. People in the television industry are remarkably friendly.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. I know that the industry, I remember it when I was starting out, it was like this big scary thing that I didn't know where it was. People are very friendly and will always respond to emails and questions, and they'll usually, if you want to meet someone, they'll find time to do so. So be out there, be positive. Listen, guys, the world isn't going to come to you, right? The BBC are not going to walk up to your front door, knock on it and say, hey, would you like a job? It's the other way around. You have to go to them and knock on their door.
Absolutely. You have to go out and happen to things, definitely. Right, this is a good question from Chloe. How would you recommend someone with very few contacts, if they've done this course, how would they then go about pitching a film or TV show? How do they then find out? Do you help them in terms of guiding them to where the commissioning editors are and the right people to contact?
Yeah, we do, but also I also expect students across the 2 years to find out about what I would call the landscape of the industry. So if you're going to come and work in the TV industry, then you go find out how it works. Who are the channels? Who are the commissioners? It's not all on me and my team to go, there you go and see these people. As an MA student, you'll be expected to do a lot of this yourself. And there are, again, all of the channels have websites. All of the independent production companies have websites. You can go and research, okay? But you will the students meet lots of people across the 2 years and make contact. So it's a combination of the people you meet, research, and yes, a bit of help. But if somebody knocks on my door and says, who do I contact at the BBC? I'm liable to throw a chair at them.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And a lot of these things you can find out yourself. I mean, as a presenter, I actually pitch a lot of my own idea for content and stuff like that. And you can find out. Just Google is your best friend. Just literally Google commissioning editor at said channel or commissioning team, and you can find that out, and you can figure out people's emails. Normally, it's just first name, last name at BBC or wherever. So you can kind of figure that out. You've got to be a bit of a detective, I find, as well in this industry in terms of finding out who these people are. LinkedIn, social media, you've got all of that at your hands. So I know obviously I come from a journalistic background, so I'm quite good at doing detective work, but you've got to do that as well, because these people, like you say, aren't just going to pop up and find you. You've got to find them. Right, a good question here from Jonathan. So he's saying that you say that we should have enough experience to secure positions higher than runners in the industry. However, sometimes it can feel like the industry doesn't really care what your experience is and will send you to start from the bottom anyway. How do you prevent that from happening?
You can't. If you find yourself in a situation where they go, well, yeah, that all looks great, but go and do this, you've got to make a decision. The decision is either you will do that and then prove them wrong, or you will say, well, I'm going to go somewhere else. I mean, you know, it is true that you will come across lots of people who can employ you in lots of different scenarios, and it's true that they may react differently to the fact that, let's say you have an MA in TV, producing direct television entertainment. They may react differently to that. Some may be very impressed and take a real interest in what you've done, and exploit that, or others may say you've got to start at the bottom and work your way up. Well, you know, that, I'm afraid that's a decision you've got to take.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about that, but you know, sometimes people want you to prove themselves to them, and they think that the way to do that is to start you off as a runner making tea. You know.
But I would say that the industry's changing as well, and I think now more than ever you know, the freelance world is booming. So maybe not during the pandemic, but before the pandemic, it's booming, and they're always looking for assistant producers. They're always looking for you know, assistant directors. Like it's so much content is being made now, like you say, especially the younger shows. They need people that can actually just do it and have the skills as well. So I would say that not every company is going to ask you to start from the bottom and work your way up. So I guess it's a conscious choice to what you apply for, and it's about applying to these roles as well. As soon as you've got the skills, you've got to go out there and you've got to apply to them. If you don't apply, then you're never going to get them. Right, okay, final question, because I do think we're going to run out of time here, but how do your students market themselves into the industry once they've completed the course?
How do they market themselves? Well, normally they'll go meet people, or they'll email people. The other thing that happens, of course, is that we will have, once the graduation shows are made, we have an industry screening. So I will invite people from the industry, and in they come, and we will screen the graduation shows, and people make contacts like that. There's an NFTS screening room where we put the graduation shows. So when you've graduated, you can email people and say, here's a link, you can watch my graduation show. So there's a variety of ways that you can do it: meeting them, emailing them, getting them to watch your work. And sometimes, you know, sometimes if I know somebody well enough and a particular student wants a leg up, if I know the person, I'll sometimes recommend them to that person, you know. So there's a variety of ways to do that. And the industry now is much more aware of the NFTS and of the TV department and what we do. Right,
I know I said that was the final question, but I'm going to squeeze one more in. Just for anybody that's on this call that's
absolutely... Go ahead.
For anybody that's absolutely desperate to get onto this course, what's your kind of final last words of advice?
They're desperate to get on this course. Well, first of all, apply. Okay. watch lots of television and watch lots of television entertainment, apply. Okay. And if you can make some stuff, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. But that's my simple, hey, if you you know, it's like the lottery, kids. If you don't buy a ticket, you ain't in it. All right.
That is so true. It's so true. Right, guys, thank you so much, David. This has been amazing. I could listen to you and chat to you all day. I'm learning so much from just hearing all about your experience and stuff, guys. I'm going to just quickly read out David's email just in case anyone didn't see it in the chat. So it's DG, excuse the accent, DG Croft. So that's DGCROFT @NFTS.co.uk, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of send that out to everybody that's attended as well. But that's his email. Email him, don't be shy. Listen,
don't be shy.
Thank you all so much. I can't believe how many people have tuned in, and thank you all so much for your questions. I'm so sorry if I never got to your question. The Q&A piece in this was just going crazy, but thank you so much. And if you do apply, all the best of luck. Please reach out to David. He's really friendly, as you can see. And thank you all so much. Thank you for your time, David. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Listen, thanks, Jodie. That was really, really nice, and I hope it has been useful to everybody. Delighted. Do it anytime, you guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much, folks.
Okay. Bye, folks.